is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, class swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. We got looks like a little pullback in the market, just a little one so far. Bull's not showing up, but who is showing up is Albert. We got Albert in the house. Good morning to all right. Good morning. I haven't seen you in a minute. If you're the same person that I spoke to a while ago, good morning to you. We got Bill. Good morning to Brian, Corey, David's in the house. Julie. Good morning to Jason. We got Jay, Lauren, Lucian, Mark, Miguel, Mike. Is good morning to Pete, Phil. We got Tim in the house. Good morning to Tina, Win. All my peeps out in YouTube land. We got Leonard, Richard, Daniel, all my lurkers in the background. That's okay. Hey, I still love you. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button and share with a friend. Share with a friend. But yeah, a little bit of a pullback. Should we be in panic mode? Yes. Yes, sky is falling. This is it. This is it. Oh, I don't know. Yesterday was an interesting day. Notably toward the end of the day. If we start breaking down, I would think I'm not even concerned really if we break down Friday. Win says we had a good run is over. No, we'll be reminiscing on this day for a while. Yeah, I don't know. We do have a lot of news this week that's coming out that we probably have to make through. So it's maybe a little bit of worry in the market, a little bit. I don't think it's worry. That's the thing. I don't think Richard says I like the new intro. Thank you, appreciate it. Uh, I don't think this is really. I don't think the conversation at this point is. Oh, I think there's mass fear, mass panic. There's soft or hard landings. I don't think there's recessions. I don't think that's the discussion, which is different. I think the discussion that you hear is have we gone too far too fast? I don't even think there's really an argument or disagreement on that. And the question is this a pullback and is this a big pullback? And I think that's the discussion. So it's very, very different than selling on fear. I think this will be, even if we get a bigger dip, I think this will be something that does get bought back up again. So in a long-term basis, I don't think the discussion is the same as most recessions we've had and most even a housing crisis or COVID comes out and how's the world going to operate. I think it's a much different conversation that we're getting up here because it's a little bit unreal how far we've come. So a pullback would make sense. And I think the fear is there's a pullback coming. I think that's the fear is the fear itself. But we have a little bit of a interesting day from yesterday on the SPY. So we did hit all-time highs. That's the other thing too. That is the other thing. It is also very tough to have that conversation when legitimately we did hit all-time highs just yesterday. Like we just printed all-time highs. So now you're gonna flip real quick to big recession, big, huge, massive pullback. I don't know if I'm sold on that yet, but we could see a little pullback. It's possible. It would make sense. I would be a dip buyer if it does happen. We got the Ides of March. So, some crazy things could happen. But legitimately, yesterday we did break out. Nice, strong pop. Good volume on that breakout as well, right into all-time highs. And then we did close under it, even pre-market today. It looks like pre-market attempted to run back into that. We didn't quite get there, but that high level candle, the high volume candle, and we are selling off from here. We're below the 200 on a 3-minute chart, or 15-minute chart. Take that for what it's worth, but we are starting to get some decreasing. This would be our third little decreasing volume area, point of control. The next target that I see on the SPY, there's a few others, smaller ones here, but the next one is probably about 509.25. And then I think that takes us into a decent level of 507.93. And that's based off the 15-minute chart. If we get underneath this candle from Friday, depending on where we close, but we still can get under there, and we haven't really even tested some of those support levels. So that's 508.44. That's going to take us to 508.04. Maybe we get back down into this range. Is still a very good support zone, 505.71. So resting period, pullback period, all that makes sense. Either some sideways chop or a slight little pullback, I think makes sense. Again, look how far off we're still extended on the daily from all of these moving averages. This is a 200 sitting down here somewhere around 406, 407. Haven't even touched most of these moving averages in a very long time. So the conversation is different. I don't think. I mean, we have Super Tuesday today. I think we got some Fed speakers coming out. I don't know if we have CPI this week. We've still got a few more earnings we got to get through, but we just hit all-time highs yesterday, and the next day we're gapping down. And like I said, I think the conversation's a little bit different. But uh, for today, still inside Friday's candle, so I'm going to use Friday's candle as some type of level of possible support. Uh, maybe 509.02. Yesterday's candle, although we did hit all-time highs, we did open and close inside that candle as well. So predominantly, I think Friday's candle is still really going to play into this. This would be a bearish gap and go just from yesterday. But again, I think we're still a little bit more dominant on that bullish candle than we are this one. So we'll have to see what happens on some of these levels, but watch for the 509.02. The real level that I have on this one is somewhere around 508.54. If that starts to crack, we got 507.97. So potentially a little bit of weakness out there today. Qs. Leonard says Rivian long-term hold by the dip. We can get into some Rivian discussion if you'd like. We got the Qs. By the way, if you guys have other tickers you guys want to see, you guys could go ahead and throw those into the chat. We'll pull those stocks up for you. But Qs, similar thing. This is a little bit more of a retest gap though. And by the way, the candle on SPY, let's go back to that real quick because it is a green candle, so technically it is a bearish gap and go. But most of that selling came at the very end of the day. The last really 30, 45 minutes of the day is where that selling came in. So the people who did sell toward the end, kind of into that little breakdown of the market yesterday, I think those people are profitable. I think the Qs highlight that a little bit better than the SPY does, where the Qs actually did close inside day. It was a red candle. So now I'm going to be using probably about 439.88, something like that is my support. Somewhere in that zone, you have much bigger levels of support right below that, 438.49. And this is technically a retest gap. And this would be us living 2 days inside this candle as long as we obviously close inside this range as well. So we do have some levels of support. I'm not overly bullish today, but I think some buy the dippers will come in. We retest. We at least minimum chop around a little bit. I think some of the chips are still actually, I believe that did the chips pull back a little bit? So you got Nvidia still up. You have SMCI down a little bit, and I don't have AMD on my other screen. So it's still a little choppy, but Nvidia still looks decent. All right. TLT, we've noticed that one's been kind of gapping a lot. Actually, a pretty good gap for TLT. So we have a little bit of a gap up here into a little tightening resistance. So we have to see if we could break this 9504. We're essentially flat at it right now. And then I do have the 200 coming up on us on a daily 95.84. But we'll see if this pulls back. This is again, I'd probably play Friday's candle. So this would be a retest. And yeah, that looks decent. We at least have a little positivity on TLT. Rivian for the long term. Well, a few rules that I have for long-term investing. One, I have to know what the company does. I got that down. I know what Rivian does. The second thing on the list is, do I think they're going to be around in 10 years? That, I don't know. According to Elon Musk, they go bankrupt at least. Bankruptcy doesn't mean they're not going to be around. But Elon Musk says he's got 6 quarters until they're bankrupt. That could be true. A lot of things could happen within that time frame. There could be a pile of money just coming in. We saw the same thing with what was it, Lucid? With you got the Saudis coming in and basically trying to prop that thing up and investing tons of money into it. So I don't have an answer if I would buy it long term. For me, it would not be a long term buy in my portfolio. But I could make a case on Rivian where valuation is relatively low. I think market cap and this would be my this is my entire argument on Rivian, Rivn. If I do put it in my portfolio, um, it won't be a major position that I continue to add to. But I'm looking at the market cap right now at about 10.56 billion. I would say that they are the closest thing to a competitor right now to Tesla. EV market is pretty massive. Obviously, all EV everything right now is going through a little rough period. The narrative is nobody wants EVs, and they're looking to struggle at least in 2024. But that being said, with a market cap of 10.56 billion, do I think at some point we could get to a double $20 billion market cap? If I mean that's not even coming close to the Tesla valuations, right? Or market cap size. So I think at some point you can get a good run on this thing. I would go absolute zero with it. So just as much as it has the ability to go higher, maybe Elon Musk is right, and this thing comes down and it's zero at some point. Um, so be very cautious on it. It's not a home run guarantee. I mean, there's no guarantees in the market, but they don't make money. They burn a lot of capital. So to answer your question, I would have it in the long term as a lotto ticket because if it is going to survive and it is going to be some type of competitor, it doesn't have to be Tesla, but it could compete with Tesla, have enough market share where you could double your money, 20 billion, $40 billion market cap. I don't think is unreasonable, but they do have to work on the pricing. I think they do have a couple new models coming out too, aimed toward not the ultra expensive type cars, so a little bit more budget friendly cars, and I think that could help. But yeah, it would be more lotto ticket, but it wouldn't be a huge part. KRE. This guy says Apple bounce or continue. The Tim Cook question. KRE gapping down about 5 cents, relatively flat. Looks like the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 days we've been in this consolidation. So we're about to hit some key levels, right? We have a key support right at about 47.53, so about 2 pennies away. The next one down from there is 47.35. That could get a little bit uglier though, because now we have a good looking hammer. That looks fantastic. We also got a little bit of a bull trap up here too. So if you're combining those, essentially we're just sitting at a high wave candle, right? Indecision. Probably the break of this one, 48.56. That would be our confirmation for the bullish direction, and really a break of 46.60 would be our confirmation that we head lower. We've already tested this level of support. The next time we test it, it's going to be a little bit weaker. So I don't know what this one wants to do from here. Don't worry. I mean, according to Jerome Powell, every single bank is safe and secure. So yeah, I don't think there's anything to worry about unless you just don't believe Jerome Powell. But he did also tell us rates are going higher. We don't believe him on that either. So we just don't believe him for anything. But this is a fair pullback spot. So from this original move, we're sitting about 50%. We probably hit the 618 down here. So this could be our original breakout. This could be the retest. We S curve up here. I don't know specifically that. I mean, we just saw a bank failure not too long ago, like a month ago, 2 months ago. We forgot about it because it's not as cool as AI. But I think there could still be some issues. And again, if those rates stay higher longer than expected, if we come in with, and I don't think we're doing it, but we come in with like a surprise rate hike at some point, or inflation, which the last two, what was it, PPI and was it PPI or PC? I think PPI and CPI came in a little bit higher than expected on inflation. So now we got to wait to see some more inflation numbers, see if that's more of a trend or just kind of a blip on the map. But you're at a very key spot in here. This should be, I think, the retest. But again, if we start to break this, then you're starting to test lower levels. So for day trade purpose, I don't really see anything while we're in this consolidation. I do think it is one to watch, see if we start to break down or not, and then probably play the momentum from there. But we're at a spot where we could break either way, and once we get that break, we'll know. So Sorry, I don't have better information on that for you, but we're kind of in a time-tested period at this point. Target TGT. Uh Target, yeah, did they have earnings? Today they had some earnings. Let's see. Where are they moving? They last earnings they gapped a lot. So this one looks like they're coming in. Retail has been relatively strong, and I think we're in that cycle right now where retail is usually decent. I mean, they're reporting, I believe, holiday numbers, Christmas numbers. But surprise beat to the upside, 56 cents, 23%. Earnings per share, you got a surprise beat on revenue of about 91 million. So that looks decent. I don't believe there's any type of real short squeeze on Target. I can't imagine there is. They do pay divvy as well. But they're up from this opening about 65% within a few short months. Get this thing off. A few short months. We were down October, we hit 102.88. We came back to that in like beginning of December sometime. 105. So we're up about 60% in 3 months. It's kind of wild. But yeah, and then let's just check the short float on this one, which I don't think they have much of any. Yeah, 1.52%. So not they don't have that fuel that would help just absolutely crush it for them. But pretty nice quarter in terms of earnings go, and you are into a little bit of this chop up here. We've seen things run into this bigger, longer chop period, and it kind of gives you that back and forth. But we have where it's not like a true great short on the day, it's not a great long on the day. So um next target, if we want to go bullish on this thing, would probably take us to, I don't even know if we get there today, to be honest. It is target 166.06. If that one breaks, we got 167.14. And then if we do think that there is a lot more momentum in this thing, maybe today, and this would be probably my stretch goal, would be about 170.58. To the downside, we got a little bit more room for this retest to come in. We actually probably have better. I'm not saying it drops, but we have a better risk reward to the downside. We got 163.62. And I think on a stretch day today, we hit like 161.26. So about 50-50, even in terms of the stretch goal, a little bit. So I'd either wait until some of those levels hit and then go the other way to try to play it on a day trade. But you are right back into a lot of chop on this one. Tesla. And then we'll get to Apple right after this one. Tesla. I believe they had some more bad news from China. My swing trade, which looks so good, stopped looking good immediately in one day. All we need is all the China sales to drop for Tesla, and then we got reversed. Still lost less than half an hour, but we'll figure out how to make that back. Um, Dangerous spot on Tesla. Very, very dangerous. They cannot catch a break in terms of a positive news cycle. We got 181.50 is a very, very key level for this thing. So see what happens down there. Right now we are below a lot of key resistance. So the first one is 183.32. Then we start pushing in 183.93. We start pushing into 185.88. So I don't know if I'd want to go directly short at open here because you do have some support. You also got resistance right above you. So to the downside, you're probably got $2 in it. Plus, this is a retest gap. There's going to be a lot of people on the short side of this thing that just made a decent amount of money. I what I would prefer to see, and I don't know if this happens, but this is what I prefer to see, is we get down to like about 180, 150, somewhere in that zone. And then I think it's worth taking the stab in the long direction. But that means that we have to open and kind of sink right away. If we start to open and we start pushing higher than some of the resistance, I can make a case for the fade. If the stretch goal, I think to me for today would be about 189.17 if this thing gets bought right back up. Maybe not a bad day to sell some short-term puts. I wouldn't go too long on these puts just in case. But unless you really like Tesla, if you really, really do like Tesla, looking for an opportunity to get in, today at open, you probably can sell some puts for a lower price. If you want to give it some more time, you don't mind getting filled. Anywhere around the 160, 165 would be a decent price, even if you get filled. If you like it here, 160, 165, not a bad spot to get filled as well if you are bullish on Tesla. Uh, AAPL. Another company cannot take a break. I was looking at this one. Where are we at? On the weekly, I think. So on the daily, we're just putting in, I mean, we still technically now have a gap fill on Apple. Today, maybe we get, I don't know when this day closes, but maybe there's another gap fill in this one. Again, all the press has been a little bit to the negative side. A lot of returns on the virtual goggles. That's what I'll call them. Win says great long-term spot. Good long-term spot. Um, for starting to accumulate. If we're being real honest with ourselves, and I know nobody wants to take a look at this, but if we're playing this move, right? If we're playing this move, trying to get as close as possible to the bottom, up here, it feels like we sold a lot. We're only at the 38% retracement on Apple, and we're not even there yet. This was the 38% retracement. We've already hit that. Um, a much better spot to start to accumulate would be a little bit lower. Again, you have a few options to do that. You could not do anything here. Potentially, maybe we get the bounce at the 38 and win. You are 100% correct. And this is the spot. We never see 170 again. But I wouldn't mind selling the 160s, selling some puts, get paid to wait. And then if you get filled, now you're getting filled at a much better spot. I wouldn't mind looking for that. And then if you don't get filled on those, you're probably looking for the 618, which is somewhere around 153. My biggest thing is we just started this conversation today. Yeah, when Lucian wants the 618, yep. We started the conversation today of like um the market conversation seems to be not so much fear of recession, fear of economy collapsing. That's not on the table yet, right? You don't really see that in the news cycle. All you see is have we gone too far too fast? These guys are already getting a little bit clobbered ahead of the market. Market just hit all-time highs yesterday. Apple's not keeping up. That's not common. That has not been the case for a very, very long time. Where Apple's weaker than the rest of the market by a lot, right? So if that's our conversation, what happens if that conversation starts to develop a little bit further in the markets? The markets actually get some kind of pullback. Well, now you got potential pullback in the market with Apple to already some negative sentiment. I think you start to hear conversations about Tim Cook as CEO. After we probably got a little more time. They'll give him some wiggle room. But if this thing starts to break down, I think that Tim Cook, should you even be CEO? What are you actually doing? I think those conversations start as well. So if the overall market comes in, Google, believe it or not, it's a little bit more weaker. Apple's a little bit more weaker. Does that mean in 10 years? So back to the long-term conversation with Rivian, do I know what Apple does? Of course. Do I think Apple's around in 10 years? Of course. Do I think the price of Apple is going to be higher in 10 years? Probably. They are still growing, but they're not. The growth rate is not. If I was to invest here at 170, what is my APR? What's my return annually if I was to get into this thing? How much more room does one of the, I think they're the second largest now. They were the largest. I think Microsoft just took them out. But how much growth does the second largest company in the world do? It's the bigger you are, the harder it is to really grow. Phil says, "What is the name of the Fib indicator in TradingView?" Just Fibonacci retracement. Fib retrace. Right. So we still have some room to pull back on Apple. So do I really want to get too excited here? Not yet. Again, is it going to absolutely wipe out your long-term portfolio? Probably not. But for today, as a day trade, we are opening at a little bit of support. We do have a pretty decent run down. This could also be a decent fade higher. So with everything I just said, this thing could actually be a little bit of a fade. Look for targets. Maybe we get to like 174.47. Do I have any other type of support that's in on this thing? I would say probably, yeah, kind of. Let's see if we can get a little more selling, a little bit more fear on Apple. Let's get down to like this 170, something like that. But at open, I might look at the 160s, selling some 160s on Apple. Maybe about a month. I got to see what the premium looks like on it, but could be interesting. Could be interesting. Uh, Berlin factory, uh, probably Berlin factory for Tesla halted productions. Yep, yeah. They don't catch a break on Tesla. Right. Right has been a lot weaker than Mara and a lot weaker than Coinbase. So I think we on Bitcoin we were about $150 shy of all-time highs on Bitcoin last night. Uh, that being said, Riot has pulled back significantly. So not great on Riot. Mars seems to be outperforming by a lot if you had to choose two. But this one, let's see. Let's do another quick little fib on this one. See if we could at least get a spot on this thing. And I'm not sure why exactly the big difference on a lot of these things, but you're right at the 618, slightly underneath it now, so we're starting to break that. And if we want to really give us the full move here, you're probably right around that 618. So $12.93 gives us that 618 retracement. This is also a retest gap. So if you're looking to buy, it's a decent little spot on it. Obviously, longer term, we have a good double top, but it's not a bad spot to try today. And it is a retest gap as well. So maybe we get some kind of support in here. And at least targets, first target would be to 1348. But if you do like Riot and you're trying to play it to the long, play it a little bit longer as a swing potentially, maybe not a horrible spot. And you do have some moving averages to hold you up as well. INTC just fell out of bed. Did they just get some news? Yeah, and they woke up on the wrong side today. We only got like 12 seconds left. That's crazy. But INTC, Intel's pulling back a little bit. Look for support. We got support coming up very soon, so probably get a small little bounce here. 44.33. Next spot on this one, 43.93. But we'll see what happens. We were scooching down to the lows of the day. We got a little bit of room for that, about another 50, 70 cents, something like that. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, so we get a little bit of a pullback. It's okay. I don't think we need to panic. Not quite yet, but that's the beauty. That's the beautiful thing about conversations. They do develop, and we'll see how this market wants to close today. We'll get right back into it tomorrow. And you guys are incredible. I'll catch all you guys later.